it says that tests which have already been piloted in some schools push pupils and monitor their progress. However, teaching unions say that they're disruptive and unreliable.
So who is right? Let's discuss this now with two head teachers. Sarah Counter is in our London newsroom, and here in the studio is Louise Regan, who also speaks for the Teachers Union, the NUT. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Sarah in London, if I could start by talking to you, because you already do these kind of baseline tests when children start at primary school. Just explain, please, how you test them. What are you looking for? Are they really tests?
Well, within about 3 weeks of the child coming into the school, the teacher will find a quiet corner in front of a computer and will sit down with that child, and they will go through a series of assessments rather than tests, and the children will perhaps copy a word that the teacher might say, or look at an object and say its name, or will be able to perhaps tell you whether something's taller or shorter, or bigger or smaller. And those are the sort of tests that we would put a child through in the first few weeks.
Okay, Louise, what's wrong with that then?
Well, the NUT is not opposed to assessing children when they come into school. Obviously, teachers have been doing that for all of their teaching career. These tests are new tests that have been brought in, which are done in the very first few weeks of these 4-year-olds who are very young starting school. And we believe that children should be allowed to settle into their classroom. They should develop positive relationships with their peers and their teachers before any assessments take place.
What Sarah's described, though, is almost assessment during the first few weeks. So just trying to garner the level at which the children in the room are. It gives an opportunity for the teachers as well as the children to kind of establish a relationship. Isn't that?
That's what has always happened, and that's what good early years practitioners are doing in all of their classrooms. These are new tests that have been brought in that score a child. They will give a child a score, and that score is going to become their score for the whole of their school career. And we think that's wrong. Children at 4 are too young to be tested.
Sarah, let's put that to you, because a lot of parents will be sending off their children this morning to school, and the idea of 4-year-olds just starting when maybe it's they've hardly get their head round knowing the teacher's name. It's all new to them. Isn't that far too early to be subjecting them to what you've yourself described as tests?
The children come in and are very happy to sit with the teacher after about 3 weeks. Have a teacher on one-to-one basis is very pleasing for a child, and they don't see it as very traumatic in any way. At Canary Wharf College, we've been testing the children since we opened. I've actually used these Durham University baseline tests for over 15 years now in my headship in every school that I've been a head in. And it's very rewarding when you see children who you've been privileged to assess 7 years earlier come through into year 6, as some of our children are now. And they're above level 6 in their learning, Sarah, you see the progress.
But that progress at year 6 is nothing to do with the fact that they've been tested 3 weeks after they started school 5 years earlier, is it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it's very pleasing for the staff, the parents, the teachers to see the progress the child has made.
Well, the point Louise made here is that if you assess a child at 4, what's the point in terms of how can that impact their whole life, their whole schooling life? What's the point in that? People understand why you would assess at GCSE level or A level, but why assess a child at 4?
From the child's point of view, they're really oblivious of what is happening in terms of the assessment.
Sorry to interrupt. It's not about what the child thinks. It's in terms of how this affects the child's life during school. Does it make an impact on this child's position in school?
It could do. If the child at the end of the first year is found not to be making progress, there could be a reason behind it, and that would give us an indication. But of course, assessment in terms of the Durham University test doesn't come just on its own. You have teacher assessment, you have what you observe in the playground, you have the teaching assistant assessment and the way that they behave in physical education and creative education, and all those triangulate to make an understanding of where that child is at when they come into the school.
Okay, thank you both indeed for now. Thank you both very much for coming and talking about this. The Department for Education is stressing that, for now at least, these are going to be voluntary tests in schools. So I'm sure we'll discuss that much more on the Facebook site.